I got it! When I first heard about Dave being trapped in a maze...
1, 2, 3, 4!
I built a labyrinth. Can you believe it?
Dave is trapped in a cardboard maze in his living room and he can't get out.
Welcome to Dave Made a Minute, the podcast where a whole bunch of us are exploring the film Dave Made a Maze 1 minute at a time. The twist. Many of the participants have never seen the film. Some don't even know what film they're sampling. They get their minutes and they tackle them as they see fit. Here's your host from the Groundhog Day Project and Michael Myers Minute, Robert Black.
Minute 40, Dave and Annie talk, and he leads everyone to somewhere new. To tackle Minute 40, we have Chris Derkotch and Jeff Ferry of Jay and Silent Bob Minute, along with Chris from the Recasting Couch Movie Podcast.
You come home, there's a giant maze in your living room. You're like, what the? There's a giant maze in my living room. I've heard of people rearranging the furniture, but this is wackadoodle crazy. Give me a sense of that.
This doesn't make any sense.
Is that a problem? There's a promise to my set. But solutions to problem.
It's like a fucking cocktail party in here.
I get a few words from you before you go.
Welcome to Minute 40 of Dave Made a Maze. We're one of the many teams covering this minute by minute. I'm Jeff Ferry from Jay and Silent Bob Minute.
I'm Chris Derkotch from Jay and Silent Bob Minute.
And I'm Chris from the Recasting Couch.
Yeah, we had to bring in a third person to help us out because Chris and I were not doing this on our own.
We were lost in the maze.
We were lost in the maze. Minute 40 begins with not George Clooney and ends with a low rent raise. And it's quite possibly the most confusing minute that I've ever watched. Before we get into it, Chris and I have done 2 minutes previous to this. What were they, Chris? 5? I forget. They were back in the beginning, though.
Yeah, they were 6 and 10.
6 and 10, I think. So we have our guest, Chris, with us from Recasting Couch. What did you think of this minute?
Okay, so this is the only minute I've ever seen of this movie, obviously. And the lead guy looks like a stand-up comedian that it may be him. It's a guy named Nick Thune, Thune. And if it's not him, then it's the greatest fucking recasting I've ever done in my career. Go and Google it right now.
Yeah, so what do you think's going on?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're in a maze.
Well, can I tell you that I just Googled it, and Nick Thune is the guy in Dave Made a Maze. So.
Oh, look at that. Okay, all right.
On point.
So I'm kind of good at what I do. We've been doing it for a while. You know. Okay, well then that kind of explains a little bit more that this is not necessarily supposed to be serious.
I certainly hope not.
Yeah.
But it feels like a kind of a version of Cube. I don't know if you ever saw Cube.
I did see Cube, and it's interesting you say that because it feels more like Cube now because now it feels we're in the maze.
Right.
Our previous minutes we were not in the maze.
No, we were in his apartment with a cardboard box. That's what we were.
Well, the way that the background looks, it looks like shards that could be cardboard. Is this supposed to be like he's retreating into that? And this is all happening in his mind?
Yeah. Well, there was a cardboard maze of sorts or some sort of conglomeration of cardboard in his thing. What would you say, Chris? It was like 6 by 8 maybe? 6 feet by 8
maybe
feet?
6 by 8, but he was inside of it already.
But he was inside of it. So at the time we were trying to figure out, was he shrunk down? Yeah. Was it a TARDIS situation where he went inside?
It sounded like he was so far away. It sounded like he was so far away when he talked. His girlfriend, who's in this scene with him, was outside of it, and she was like trying to talk him into coming out.
It feels like a metaphor. Hate to tell you guys.
It does, but like having missed 30 minutes of the movie, it's very possible that they literally sci-fi'd their way in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's crazy where we're at now from where we left off.
I mean, I've seen 1 minute of this movie, and I kind of already think I know everything about it.
Yeah, but from what we've seen, I mean, if it's that, they're playing it so straight that it's literally going to be like the Newhart ending of like somebody's going to wake up, or like Saint Elsewhere, and they're going to be like, no, the whole thing, dream.
Yeah,
like,
which is, I mean, feasible, if not likely. But there are some things that happen in this minute.
Oh, yes, there are. So
that are notable.
The only people that we've seen before, Chris and I have seen before, is the girlfriend.
Okay.
And then standing. Well, we'll get to her. So we knew the girlfriend. So this is the first time we've met who I assume is Dave.
Yeah, we haven't seen Dave before. I think it's Dave too.
Oh, so that's Nick Thune?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So that's the first time we've seen him.
Feels like a protagonist.
Yeah. And he also feels like they feel like they're not in here against their will, but like they didn't really want to come in here, but like maybe they came in here to try to get him because he was already in there. And now everybody's kind of stuck inside the maze.
And
Right.
it does not feel like anybody opted into this experience.
Yeah.
And is there a monster? Because that first line is it's guarding its home.
Yeah. It does feel like something's unleashed in there. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's talking about it like it's Stranger Things, like they're in the Upside Down or something.
Yo, if this is
Like
Cube with a monster, I'm watching it tonight.
I want to see it. I refuse to watch it before we finish our minutes that we have. But I do
we still
wanna
got
see
one
it.
more that we got to finish, so
Yeah.
we can't watch it till then.
Let's have a watching party.
But I mean, we watched, even after watching the first 2 minutes, I was like, oh my God, I'm so on board to watch
Yeah,
this movie.
yeah.
But like, I can't do it. I don't want to sully the rest of my minutes by, actually watching it.
Well, the fact that you've already watched 2 minutes and have no idea what's going on in this minute leads me to believe this is going to be something fun.
Well, I'm trying to explain it. It'd be like watching most movies. Like if you watch like 2 random minutes of the first 10 minutes of a movie that has like a real plot where things go along. Like you watch like 2 of the first 10 minutes of maybe like Star Wars, and it's all on like the Tantive 4, and they're just like it's all the Darth Vader stuff. And you're like, okay, I think I know what's going on. And then I just show you a scene 30 minutes later of just like somebody riding a speeder through the desert, and you'd be like, what is going? Who the hell is this
Yeah.
guy?
It's
what's going on?
Independence Day, where they see like Will Smith talking to his wife before he leaves the house, and then it's like all of a sudden he's trying to load up a weird virus
Dead
onto
alien.
the computer.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck happened between A and B?
yeah. Like how did we get here?
But this
Yeah, so-
even there's something odd just in each minute though. It seems like with
Okay,
this
so-
one, it's not.
The first, besides the fact that we think they're inside of a cardboard maze, the first odd thing is, I think you mentioned it, Chris, or you mentioned it before we came on when he hugs her. What's on his hand?
Yeah. Well, what's the thing he's holding in the beginning? Is it a?
I thought it was a
flag?
banana at
I
first.
thought it was a banana too, but it looks like maybe some kind of tool.
He's a cook. He has oven mitts on, and it's a
bottle opener of some sort, or
it's a pair of what? Why am I blanking?
Yeah, I don't know. At first, I thought he had a.
I want to say
thought he had a
tweezers.
I thought it was a box cutter, which would, I guess, make sense. But
yeah, I guess that would make sense.
I thought he had a boxing glove and box cutters. I'm like, that's weird.
But
Everything
that
says box in it.
I thought boxing glove too. Well, maybe everything has to have the word box in it.
Careful.
He says, "I don't know."
Careful
No-
there.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, is it an oven mitt or is it a boxing glove?
I don't know. I don't think you ever get a good shot of it. Maybe
No.
later in the minute when we see them walk away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he hugs her, and we get a nice, well-lit shot of them where they have like a little arcing light down on them. And then a camera crew rolls in.
Yeah. What the
hell?
Yeah, the camera crew was not in the stuff we saw before.
No. And then the camera crew just walks out. They got a boom mic. They put it over them.
Big smiles on their face.
Yeah. And they seem to see them, but they don't care that they're there.
Okay, so if you've never seen the Dave guy before, and they've focused so much on the camera crew, maybe this movie's about the camera crew?
I don't know. Although I'm gonna recast this minute and say the guy on the left should be Corey Feldman from like his late '80s time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had Johnny Galecki,
Oh, also would work.
and I did that on the spot, just like you did.
Yeah,
The guy with the boom mic kind of reminds me of Newman from Seinfeld.
he does kind of have a Newman look
Wait,
to him. I
wait.
also thought he looked like the kid from The Sandlot.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I wanted Josh Gad.
We
I don't know,
did meet the guy in the
cameraman's
back.
hiding a lot of his face. I can't really get much of
Yeah.
him.
We did meet the guy in the background before. What was his name, Jeff? Do you remember his name?
Was he Leonard?
Was he Leonard or was he the other one?
I don't remember. Or was he supposed to call Leonard? Hold on. I don't remember. I don't even know if I still have notes from the other one. I might have burned them in frustration of not knowing what was going on.
Hey, if you were dealing with anybody else, then digging into that minutia, someone may object, but I absolutely not. Like on our podcast, we dig into all of these random people.
Yeah. Well, that guy was a big part in the beginning. He came to the house when the girlfriend was trying to get him out of the cardboard box, and when he showed up, the door just opened for him. It was really weird.
Yeah, he showed up at the door, and the door just opens for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Knocked Up, the guy from Freaks and Geeks?
Yeah.
The tall, skinny kid. That's what he looks like, at least in the background of the minute that I have.
I think he looks like Scott Mosier.
Wrapping it back to the
Yeah.
Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, keeping it. Oh, he looks like Scott Mosier in Clerks though. When he has the beard, not the shaved one.
The Gordon?
It might be Gordon. Yeah, I think Leonard was the guy they were calling, so maybe one of these dopes is Leonard.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm talking about Martin Starr.
Okay.
He's currently on Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
And he was in Party Down, which was fucking amazing.
It's the camera crew being there is already weird, but like just the weird ass smiles on their face are really creeping me out.
Yeah, like what? Like they are really into this, and I want to know why. I feel like it's part of the plot.
And then, that's like the first like 3/4 of the minute.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, this is a little weird.
They
and
also
then, like,
mentioned in that beginning part, they mentioned none of this should work, but look at it. And then she says, yeah, in our apartment. It's like, I thought Dave made it and he knew it would work.
See, I'm operating currently under the theory that they have actually been transported in there somehow.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that logically part of my brain wants that to be the truth, or if like I just really wish that's what's happening. I'm always gonna be disappointed if it's just like he's in a mental hospital, or like this is all in his mind. But no, I want this to be real.
Elsewhere bullshit. Yeah, it's already.
And then the last 15 seconds, I'll put it to you this way: if we had another minute of this, I would think they were having sex.
Right.
In front of the camera crew, because all of a sudden they walk in, it's like the music changes and the lights are on.
Oh yeah, they're clearly on drugs. It's either ecstasy or acid or something, but yeah, no, they're clearly on drugs.
And he's like, I hope you'd like it.
I've never seen anyone stare at a ceiling as much as they did, and they weren't on drugs. Not one time.
It's just, put it this way, if I turned this movie on at like 12:30 at night on Cinemax.
Yeah.
And
I already know where you're going with this.
I mean, you could guess what the next 5 minutes of this movie are going to be. I was going to say it's weird that I would say it's weird that there's another guy there in this whole camera crew, but they can work around that.
Now you'd probably be wrong, but we'd never know.
Yeah.
We don't get to see those minutes.
Put it this way: if I started this minute at the 45-second mark and only showed you the last 15 seconds of it, then what would you have thought? You'd have been like, what the hell is going on here?
Imagine if this whole project was just people to get to watch parts of pornos that weren't the sex part.
That would be great. That would be great.
Like, I don't understand what's going on in this plot at all. Why does everybody have such terrible mustaches?
Oh, and people going all real deep into it. It means that, like, the human condition, got one and then the other.
They just zoom out and it's a porn.
Like, that one guy, I would recast him as Ron Jeremy. He looks just like him.
Oh, that'd be fucking great. That'd be like the greatest own of all time. It's just a bunch of these serious podcasters just talking about porno.
It's like, we're really going to break this down a minute at a time. Having said that, I would never. It's so ridiculous. Because you imagine breaking down a movie like that, where like first you got to sit through like 6 minutes of awful dialogue, but you thought that was bad. Now you got to sit through like a 12-minute long sex scene.
And what do? Just play by play at that point?
I guess so. So it's like, all right, it's our third day of things are really heating up now. His wife has just shown up. You think she's going to be upset about this action? Well, she should be, but I bet she's not going to be.
Oh, she's taking her shirt off.
I don't
Just
know.
like what would happen in the real world if your wife walked in and you were in there with the maid.
I don't know, guys. As a member of the Recasting Couch podcast, I really don't approve of this type of subject matter, and I think
salty language.
I think you're being really inappropriate right now.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, I'm going to say this, Chris. I feel like we did not solve the problems of what's going on in this movie. We have not cracked the code yet.
No.
I doubt that this movie solves the problems that we've identified.
Well, I mean, it was a real culture shock for us just to be inside the maze. That was, I thought the whole movie was going to take place in the apartment.
Me too. I thought he was going to have to. They were going to have to call like people with straitjackets, pull him out of that box.
Yeah.
Although looking back at the second part of it, where they walk into this place with all the weird lights, it doesn't look like cardboard in the background anymore. It looks like rock.
He thinks they're going to be safe in there, I guess, from the monster?
Oh, you know what it looks like? Do you think it looks like rock, or does it look like that paper that comes in the cardboard?
Oh, like inside an Amazon package?
Yeah, like that wavy, like paper looking stuff.
I think that's what it is. I think it's the paper, the shipping paper.
Yes.
And he did have lights all strung through it. I thought on the outside. Remember he had the tube. Remember the smoke coming out of the tube?
Right, there was smoke coming out of the tube. We thought he was smoking a bong or something at one point.
I mean, the person who is responsible for this movie was absolutely smoking bombs. Anything they could really get their hands on, from what I've seen in this 1 minute.
If you're operating under my theory, you have to assume that this Dave person was inside this maze and either requested these people come in there or got in some sort of trouble where they felt like they had to get in there, and they somehow were able to do it.
Yeah, they figured out.
Which included his girlfriend, this guy that's his friend, and a camera crew for some reason.
And it could just be they crawled in and everything changed.
And then they just my other question would be...
being John Malkovich?
Yeah. So my question to Chris would be, we saw the apartment or whatever. Do you think there's anybody still in the apartment? Is there anybody left behind?
Oh, like somebody still listening outside?
Yeah.
I mean, all we saw in the apartment were these three. Not even these three, these two. The girl and...
But they were going to call other people, so it's possible that they left some people there. I hope so. Otherwise, they're all they're all stuck in here.
Yeah, they got to find their way out of the maze.
By the way, I didn't give you enough props for the Corey Feldman pick. I've got it freeze framed on him. It's
Corey
so
Feldman.
good.
Well, he looks like Corey Feldman's from. It looks like he has his wardrobe from Stand By Me on.
My dad stormed the beaches of Normandy. Was that him?
And he's
Your
got the
father's
army
in
jacket
loony up in Tokus.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what they were going for.
Oh, it may be. We may be missing it. Every person that's cast may be dressed as somebody.
For some reason or another.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have 1 more minute to go, which is even further into the movie, so I can't wait to see how lost we are when that comes up.
Oh, my God, yes. That's going to be so good.
I'm looking forward to doing our last minute, just so me and Chris can watch the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I want to watch this movie.
So, I mean, if you're listening to our minute, I mean, granted, you're now halfway through the movie, but I can't recommend it highly enough to watch this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely recommend it not highly enough.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's other movies where if I gave you a minute segment of lots of movies, you might be like, oh, whatever, I can't really tell what's going on. It's two people talking at a table, who cares?
There's nothing I've learned in this minute of the movie that I could recommend it. I'm sorry. But if you're already listening to this podcast, then, I mean, you're committed at this point.
Well, I mean, you're even in a worse spot. At least our first 2 minutes were kind of at the beginning, so we were still getting some groundwork laid down for us.
Yeah.
You're really getting dropped down in the middle.
This is way better.
Crazy.
It's way better. I don't want to learn about somebody's family. I just want to see some weird shit.
We didn't know. The only thing we knew was the title of the movie. We didn't even know the characters' names unless somebody said it.
Yeah.
So when they said Dave, that's who we knew who that was. Obviously, we had to go find the other guy's name because they said it at some point, but we forgot to write it down. And I had the girlfriend's name written down at some point too, but
Annie.
I don't remember.
Her name's Annie.
Yeah.
So you'd rather find out who Dave and Annie are than see Dave magically have oven mitts appear on his hands? Are you crazy? This is way better.
Listen, I can't wait for the end where there has to be an explanation of either they all somehow got in there, or this is a government program, or they're all actually in the future just dreaming of this. I mean,
I think the camera crews would screw me up the most because they're what are they doing there?
Yeah, who called them?
Yeah.
And no, you know what? You know what is probably the biggest part of the story, and it's the part we mentioned but are blowing past, is the whatever else is in there with them.
Yeah, the growling noise or whatever that was in the beginning.
Is it a monster, or is it is there a cockroach in there?
Well, I didn't notice that.
It's there and it's guarding its home, whatever it is.
I'm sure it'll work out well for the film crew.
Yeah, well, if something guarding its home is whatever they need to get out is wherever that is.
Right, in its home.
Yeah, no, they'll be fine, and their giant smiles on their faces is not indicative of them
what's
being
happen
selected
to them in the future.
For.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, there's 6 people in here. Oh, yeah, there's 6 people in there. If 3 of them are going to die, it's going to be the whole camera crew.
The camera crew, yeah.
They were way too happy to be there.
Yeah, they were creepy smiling. I wasn't liking it.
It's like Black Hole Sun creepy smile.
Yeah, that weird creepy smile.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, I would love to say that I'm going to consult my notes, but I really don't have any.
Yeah.
I watched I was going to say 30 seconds ago, but 30 seconds ago, 20 minutes ago. And so, yeah, I got nothing left on this.
Yeah.
There's 7 lines in the whole minute. There's 7 lines. So.
Yeah,
Oh, did you write them down?
I have the dialogue. I had him send it to me.
Can you read them? Can you do a quick impression?
Yeah, please.
It's there and it's guarding its home. I can't do Annie. We need to get a girl in here.
I was going to volunteer, but I don't have the
Just use your falsetto voice. Let's hear it.
What's it doing here?
Yes.
What does he say? Oh, I don't know. None of this should work, but look at it. It's here. And then she says, yeah, in our apartment. And then they go into that room, and he says, I'm sorry, I think we're going to be safe here. She says, wow, it's pretty. And he says, yeah, I was hoping you'd like it. That's it. That's all the lines we get for this whole scene.
And then I'm assuming next minute it's boom chicka brown cow. How disappointed are going to be when we go to watch this movie and it has nothing to do with that, and that's not what happens.
But if it does happen, that'd be fantastic. Although you'd be pissed that you missed out on that minute.
You'd be like, oh, who got that minute? Oh, what do you mean the Mogwai minute got it? Come on.
Yeah, turns out this whole thing was like a late 1990s Skinamax movie.
Yeah, there's like
didn't get any of the titty.
Yeah, there's just a prolonged 12-minute sex scene coming up.
Where you see absolutely no nudity whatsoever. It's just shadows and pieces of flesh.
It's just that all you see is weird thrusting, right. And inexplicably, everybody has the covers pulled up to their hips,
right? And the shadow of a butt that you're not quite sure if it's the guy or the girl.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. It's a lot of sweaty backs going on here.
Did I get too real there? Did I get too?
Where you see they're having sex in a position that's not humanly possible. Where you're like, that's not how parts interact with each other. You're not doing it right.
I'm seeing 5 legs. I know that there aren't 5 legs involved.
I think that was a Naked Gun that happens, where you see them. There's 4 sets of legs. All right, now that we've mentioned the Naked Gun, I think we've exhausted everything we can about this minute.
My tank is empty.
All right, Chris, final thoughts.
Go ahead, Chris.
I don't know. Banana, boxing glove, rave party. I got no other thoughts.
We're going to sound like such idiots when the scene before this thing to show very clearly what everything is.
I'm going to still stick with cube on acid.
I'm still going with some sort of he invented something to somehow get them in the box, into the maze.
Yeah, I want to know how they got in the maze.
All right, so why don't you tell us where they can find you, Chris?
I'm guessing you're talking about this, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. First off, thanks for having me on this, guys. Really appreciate it. You can find us on Twitter at RecastingPod. Email us at recastingpod@gmail.com. We're going to be doing some episodes about some topics that aren't actual movies. We're going to talk about the industry and all that. So if there's anything you want to hear us talk about, let us know, or send us suggestions for movies that you want us to recast in the future. And then therecastingcouch.com.
I'm sending you an email right now. Dave made a maze.
Yeah, recast it.
Yeah. It's funny. Our download count almost directly reflects the amount of people that actually watched the movie that we were recasting.
The popularity.
So
yeah.
Oh, so you're saying a small independent movie that is only being watched by the people that are reviewing it right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
I know its numbers are gonna go up as soon as I finish mine. It's gonna be on. Chris and I are gonna be watching it.
Oh, where can we find it? Is it on YouTube, or how do we find this?
Oh, we're not very good at this, Chris. We should know that,
huh? I definitely saw it somewhere where it was streaming, but I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or not.
Oh, that was a lot of help, Chris. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm trying to stall as I pull my Netflix up.
Don't worry. You can just pretend you was talking about the other Chris and then I messed everything up.
Okay. Well, if you're looking for us, the other half of this, you can
Chris
find us
Sandwich.
we're at Jay and Silent Bob Minute over on duelinggenre.com. We break down the Kevin Smith movies that feature Jay and Silent Bob 1 minute at a time. We already did Clerks, and now we've moved on to Mallrats. When this comes out, maybe a little bit more than halfway through. So we're deep into the mall. So if you enjoy that type of thing, come over there. We also covered The Burbs a couple years ago. So if you like The Burbs, Burbs is a crazy movie. It's maybe not quite as crazy as this, but It was a very interesting movie, so you could check that out. We did that 1 minute at a time. All right, Chris, did I vamp enough for you? Were you able to figure it out?
It's not on Netflix. Maybe minute 65 when we come back. I'll let you know where you can find it.
Oh, that's good. I'm sure everybody wants to wait another 5 weeks to find out where they can watch this movie.
You know what? You know what website we use all the time for that? That's the absolute authority on this. JustWatch.com.
All right, Chris, go.
Yeah, you go to Just Watch and you select the different streaming services. You select any title or topic. I mean, it is the place to go. That's where we go to find all the movies that we want to do, just to see everything that's streaming on whatever service is available. So,
all right. So make sure you check out everything on moviesbyminutes.com too. The other 100 and so Movies by Minutes are all up there, including the OG Star Wars minutes up there. So if you like this format and you want to hear people talk about movies they might actually have seen before they start talking about them, you can go over there. If you really like this format of different groups of people doing it, check out Die Hard Minute, where we had 13 teams of Movies by Minutes people do 1 week at a time. So you'll get a whole rotating group there. It's a nice it's a nice primer if you want to listen to people, a different group each week.
Yeah, we don't advertise our spots on Die Hard Minute that much.
I know, we've guessed all over the place. I never remember to say anything about it. I got a whole other podcast I don't even mention talking about.
That's true.
And what podcast is that?
Well, that would be the Slycast, the Sylvester Stallone podcast, which I occasionally show up on to talk about Sylvester Stallone movies, one movie at a time, because 1 minute at a time would be crazy. The last one that got covered was The Specialist. Yes, we are into 90s Stallone. It is not all great. The next one we're going to do is I Am the Law. We're going to do a little Judge Dredd.
I like that movie. I like Judge Dredd.
There's a great Onion article about how all the Supreme Court reference Judge Dredd as like case law, and all the Supreme Court people start yelling, "I am the law." It's fucking hysterical. I'm pretty sure it's a video on YouTube, and just look up the Onion Demolition Man Supreme Court. You'll see it. It's so fucking funny.
All right, Chris, we gave you as much time as humanly possible.
Yeah, I'm not getting it.
All right. Well, you're dead to us, so
I can watch the trailer.
Just Google it, and I'm sure you can figure it out quicker than this moron can.
You can watch it online, streaming, rent, or buy. It doesn't say where.
Okay, we're done with you now, Chris. We're moving on. We're shutting it down. We're out of here.
Stay tuned for minute 65, where I tell you where you can find it.
Stay tuned for 3 weeks from now.
I can tell you right now, it took me 2 seconds. It's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. There you go.
Yeah,
dipshit.
It's on Hulu. It's on Hoopla, which I've never heard of.
I don't know why it was available to me because I don't have Hulu. I thought it was on Comcast or Netflix, or maybe it was, and it's not anymore.
Hey, Chris, step into my office. You're fucking fired. All right. You know what? That's it. We're out of here. Everybody, have yourself a chocolate-covered pretzel, and stay safe, neighbors.
And then I could probably disarm all the traps, and then we could finish this maze. Who is with me?
That was Chris Derkotch and Jeff Ferry of Jay and Silent Bob Minute, along with Chris from the Recasting Couch Movie Podcast, taking on minute 40 of Dave Made a Maze. They will be back in minute 65. Next time, on Dave Made a Minute, we've got Luke Allen of Please Be Seated, taking on minute 41.
Thank you for listening to Dave Made a Minute. Intro dialogue snippets were taken from Dave Made a Maze, directed by Bill Watterson, written by Bill Watterson and Steve Sears, and produced by John Charles Meyer. Intro music is Diversion by The Equals, featured in the film Dave Made a Maze, and Life Cycle of a Match by Parvis Decree. Outro music is Leaving This Godforsaken Place and Her Presence is Strong Here by Parvis Decree. Dave Made a Minute is a production of Lemming Drop Studio and all other featured podcast producers. You can find more content at lemmingdrops.com. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Dave Made a Minute. If you like what you hear, throw us a rating and review on your podcatcher of choice, and check out all of the participants' other shows to spread the love around. Again, thank you for listening.
As long as we're all working together, this is going to be fine. It's going to be great.
I need you to notify the families of everyone who died here today.
Totally. Wait, what?